When you begin to use technology and blended learning techniques in your classroom, you will notice that the management style that you use has to change a little. I noticed often with my students that with the computers there were new challenges, like students pushing through assignments quickly to get to play a game at the end, or sometimes they wouldn't even start in on the assignment. They would do other things on the computer instead of working with the class. So there are a few things that I've changed in my own approach to learning that has helped with these things. One of the most important things is I go through a computer use agreement with them at the very beginning of the year. I give it to them. They're supposed to take it home, and they get a parent signature, and they have to sign an initial, and then I keep that, obviously, and I will talk to the students about their behaviors if they ever break the contract of the computer use agreement. It asks the students to initial that they won't deface my computers, won't try to pick keys off, but it also talks about actual responsibility behaviors as well, things like making sure that they only do the activities they're supposed to do on the computer, that they're not looking at other people's screens when they're not supposed to, things like that. I found that the computer use agreement does help, especially if students get off task. I can remind them about the agreement they signed. And I usually don't let the students use computers in my classroom until they've gotten that signed by a parent. Some other techniques I've learned to do would be things like warning the students. Obviously, I walk around the classroom when they're using computers, and so I can talk to students immediately if they start to get off task. And if they've gotten off task multiple times, I have to keep returning to redirect them. Then oftentimes I have them get off the computer, and sometimes that means they do paperwork instead of computer work, or sometimes it just means that they get to watch what their neighbor's doing on the computer and learn through just watching instead of doing. Obviously, it's not optimal, but you have to teach the students responsibility, and that's one of the ways to do it, is to make sure that you actually follow through. Something new this year that we've used as well is a computer program called Bloxy. Our whole school uses it, and I can log in to Bloxy and I can actually see all of my students' computer screens, and I can help control these screens to keep the students easily managed, but also to help them stay on task. And it has a lot of interesting features, like it allows you to pause so that no one can control their computer, or I can push specific websites from the Bloxy account to every student's screen, and you can also lock them in certain tabs so that they don't leave, especially during assessments, to do other things. And I feel like that, along with the computer use agreement, has really helped with my management in my blended learning classroom, and it helps me make sure that my students are staying on task and engaged in the lesson so that they can complete the learning that they're supposed to.